None of this makes sense. We better go check it out.
Pushing you the ground station's coordinates.
I don't know, Andy, tell me.
All the bad things that are happening now, all the bad things that have ever happened, all involved human beings. They're always involved whenever anything goes wrong from the very dawn of time. And think of this, an automated Nigel Cass, surely a step up on the human Nigel Cass. You could even program it to have a tiny, tiny sliver of conscience. And if you had an automated Prime Minister, you could program it to be occasionally in the goddamn country. So that's, again, it's a step forward.
Again, I insist that there's never been a Prime Minister, Andy. I've never seen him, I've never heard of him. The only times I ever hear what the Prime Minister does is when nothing happens.
I mean, it has reached the point where, and I've thought this for a long time, we would be better off if the Prime Minister was a watermelon. You know, it would be, I think we'd all be happy with that. We'd all know where we stood.
You hear him being praised for his diplomatic skills all the times, but the best mark of diplomacy is when nothing happens. So,
The GPS history of the spider bot we recovered regularly pinged these coordinates. Our mystery witness to the real bombers must have come to this lovely, damp location several times.
It's remote. Good place to fly under the radar.
Or to discreetly dump a body into the Thames.
Nailed to find the rain.
I'm detecting a surveillance network guarding a space under this bridge. If you can patch into it, perhaps you can take a look inside.
Cannot detect targets. Beginning search.
Any luck yet? Drone, enter search protocol.
Come out! Wherever you are! Unable to locate suspect. Continue searching. You'd better hide.
Nibbling away on the rocket dog.
Fucker could be anywhere. Searching perimeter. Target remains undetected.
Well, tiddle me bollocks. It's like a wee little cop station here. What's it doing, I wonder?
Well, if Albion was stopping all over your workplace, you'd find a different place to store your lunch too. And it seems our mystery officer was dedicated.
Sure, I'm with you. But what were they working on that would lead them to the town bombing?
The computer's dusty enough to kill an asthmatic, but there may still be something useful on it.
This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. Well, former inspector now. Since Albion's coup, the Met is no more. The police brass had already buried the evidence anyway. Everything implicating Albion and Clan Kelly in the bombings. But I know Mary Kelly's band of twats were involved, and they're involved in other crimes we can look into. Me and a few good mates are willing to go off book, going after Mary Kelly again. I'll never fucking learn, will I?
Is that how it's done then?
Inspector Caitlin Lau, video log. Clan Kelly and Albion are teamed up on some deal. I don't have all the details, but it looks to be human trafficking. The European Processing Center is the Albion angle. Since the bombings, they can grab anyone off the street. Call them illegal immigrants, potential DedSec insurgents, whatever. Though we know who the real danger is. So, Clan Kelly gets hold of these people, these immigrants, deportees, victims, really, and they're taking them somewhere. But where and why? It all comes back to the boss lady herself. I knew she was into something, but she wriggled off the hook. There's only one way I can do this. 24/7 surveillance on Mary Kelly. If I'm caught, well, this will be my last entry. But I have to see what she's hiding.
So, our mystery officer was Inspector Caitlin Lau. It sounds like Mary Kelly was her white whale, and her investigation led her to the bombings.
This is all starting to come together. I knew Albion were grade A cunts, but working with Clan Kelly gives them something to hide.
It seems like 0 Days Web covers all of the unsavory bits of London. Tug on a thread, and it leads back to them. Clan Kelly and Albion included.
They're taking people off the streets. 0 Day or not, we have to do something.
Inspector Lau mentioned Albion is running their part of the operation out of the EPC. Detectives like us call that a lead.
This Albion Clan Kelly business leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And if Caitlin Lau's right, then this little nugget jumps to the front of the queue. We have reason to believe a former DedSec operative may still be alive, but missing inside the EPC.
Angel Lopez, not London-born, but I won't hold that against him, unlike some others.
Looks like Angel got caught up in the immigration roundup, which, ironically, may be the only reason he escaped 0 Days DedSec purge.
Anti-immigrant sentiment has grown in London since the bombings. Albion fuels it. It allows them to send anyone they want to their brutal refugee camp.
We need to find Angel before they discover he's DedSec. This is kind of personal, team. But finding his trail might just shed some light on the Albion Clan Kelly connection.
Shit. Well, good news it is. Deportees aren't leaving the UK. They just chuck them in the EPC and then they look the other way.
I've sent the details to your device and advised our contact at the EPC. They can get you inside. So, I've delved more into Caitlin Lau's investigation, and an enormous number of missing person cases centre around the EPC. The inspector was definitely onto something.
So let's find that guy and get out fast. If they work out Angel's DedSec before we find him, the nicest thing they'll do is kill him.
All persons on the premises must at all times carry valid identification and be prepared to present it to Albion personnel upon demand. Failure to comply with instructions from Albion personnel is a crime.
Got Bagley summons. I've already taken care of your entry. Get you in quick and quiet.
Just keep me off their actual system, yeah? Christ knows I don't need any extra attention.
No worries, I'll spoof. Well, come meet me on the rooftop. The only place here that doesn't smell like piss. Got some info for you.
The European Processing Centre. It processes deportees by stacking them up in squalid conditions and forgetting about them. But hey, it's to protect London, right?
What's going on here?
This place is worse than a prison camp. Every day I see people come through here, torn from their homes and their families. But I'd rather stay and keep an eye on things. Maybe help out once in a while. Like no.
This is a fucking abomination. Nobody should be treated this way, let alone somebody whose only sin is being unlucky enough to be born in the wrong place.
Yeah, well, people have been disappearing. Records say they have been processed, but it doesn't add up. No one ever properly leaves. And with the Kellys prowling around like fucking hyenas, I am not too optimistic about the people slipping through the cracks.
Well, that checks out. Mary Kelly has her reeking tentacles choking out half the boroughs in the city.
Truth. Now, about your missing guy. The best place to start would be the EPC database. They keep a record of everyone that comes in. And be careful.
Pushing the location of the EPC database on your optic.
You're mental, man.
There will be a database here that we can search for evidence on Angel Lopez.